Hello and welcome to another video. Today we wanted to talk about equipment. Put out on my Instagram story if you guys would be interested in seeing an equipment video, and the responses were amazing. We had 100% yes. So here is the video. I hope this helps in some way. So what we're going to do is we're going to work from the bottom up. We're going to start with the shoes, my favourite part, and then work our way up through the body and what supportive equipment we can use. So I've got a few things with me that I personally use most sessions, but I'll also add in some alternatives where needed, stuff I've had experience with and played around with. I'm sure there are, again, other things you can use, but stuff I haven't used I won't be introducing today. Anyway, so let's kick things off with the shoes. So there's kind of two pairs of shoes I will tend to lean towards, or it would be some sort of flat soled shoe, as you can see here, completely flat, no soft heel, fairly sturdy sole. And for this I'll do generally most of my training in your leg extensions, your dumbbell presses, leg press, leg curls, all that sort of jazz, split squats, whatever. I'll just use a flat shoe or some sort of running shoe. With this, you've got no stability in it, no raised heel, no nice lacing system, so it's just your generic shoe. The benefits of this is that flat sole. So when doing stuff like deadlifts and potentially squats, you're actually going to be closer to the floor, reducing range of motion, specifically on a deadlift. But also just having that flat foot in a secure shoe can just lead with better balance and stuff. So kind of your generic shoe, a flat shoe, you can never go wrong. Converse are generally the ones to go to. As you can see there, I've got Vans. They'll do just as good. The second shoe that I'll wear, and I'm sure you've all seen on my Instagram because they're fairly bright, is the Olympic weightlifting shoes. So these are the Reebok Legacies. Now the benefit to these compared to the Converse / Van is, as you can see here, this huge heel. So this is going to elevate the heel, so I've got much more dorsiflexion, which is basically how far forward I can push my knee, so the angle between the foot and shin. So I can push my knee much more far forward, which helps with, again, catching Olympic lifts in a bolt upright position and helps with squatting, etc. You'll also notice the double lace straps, so this really secures the foot nice and tight. It also has the support around the back and at the forefront to create an extremely stable position for your foot. So once your foot is in that, there's no rocking in the shoe, whereas with this, you can quite easily rock left to right in this, whereas with the lifting shoe, that ain't going to happen. What you'll also notice is this has much bigger surface area, so you can kind of see here how it lips out. So the surface area is huge difference. Now these are the same size shoe, but the surface area on these is much greater. Now again, that's handy for squatting specifically and bench press actually, that we just have more surface area to push into, which means a greater balance point as well. Lifting shoes can be great for bench also, depending on the federation you're in. A lot of the time they'll ask for a flat foot. Now if you've got lifting shoes on, you gain a couple inches, again just with that heel. So they're the shoes, they're the two I'd recommend. Now, do you need either of them? Not really. I would say most people should have a flat shoe. That will provide you the most bang for your buck. They're cheap and extremely versatile. If you find you've got a couple £100, up to around, I mean, these cost me about £160, so they're not cheap at all. But if you can afford it, there are some for around £80 to £120. Which again you don't need, but if you are going to be committing to weightlifting, or you're committing to powerlifting, or just lifting in general, then perhaps look at investing. But if you can't afford it or not that interested, then there really is no need for an Olympic lifting shoe. Moving ever so slightly up, we're going to talk about knee sleeves. So knee sleeves are what I use. There's different types of knee sleeves. You can get ones that are thicker, ones that are slightly longer. I use the Ray-Ban knee sleeves. As you can see, they're nicely beat up. Basically what this does is just provide heat and a little bit of compression to around the knees. So if, like myself, you're doing a lot of squatting, a lot of deadlifting, a lot of leg work, your knees are going to take a bit of a battering. Maybe if you're a slightly older age as well, your knees can take a bit of a battering. Just having a pair of these on just gives you that extra layer of protection. Now with the Ray-Ban specifically, you don't really get much benefit out of it, so it's not going to boost your lifts or boost your strength at all, but again, it just provides you with that kind of confidence knowing that the knees are safe. I've used the SPDs. Yes, SPDs, sorry. They're a little bit longer, a little bit stiffer, but I did find those did help me a little bit out of the bottom of a squat. They kind of bunch up, compress really tight, and it kind of gives you a little bit of spring out the bottom. So again, if you're looking to kind of actually boost your lifts with equipment, then knee sleeves are going to be a great one for that. As well as the knee sleeves, you can also get knee wraps, which I don't have any with me. I did used to have some, but I don't anymore. But basically, it's a long set of elastic that you'd wrap your knees around. Now, this is what you'll see a lot of powerlifters and, again, some weightlifters use. And these will most definitely give you a nice strength boost. What that does will compress the knee so tight that all the knee wants to do is to extend again. So once you get down to the bottom of the squat, those wraps are going to compress to try and straighten out the knees, giving you a nice boost. I'll display an image over here of some sort of knee sleeves. Again, very popular, can also be done as a light wrap for, again, same purposes as these, just to provide a bit of warmth, a bit of compression. That's fine also. Knee sleeves, again, are not essential, certainly not. But again, if you are a little bit concerned about your knees or you are doing a lot more leg work than usual, they're not too expensive. I think these were 50 to 60 for the pair, which again is expensive if you're not going to use them. However, it's one of those bits of kit, I would say, again, if you can afford it, do it. They're certainly more affordable than weightlifting shoes. You won't get as much benefit, but again, they are quite handy. Just be sure to wash them. They get really stinky really quickly. Yes, so that's the knee wraps and knee sleeves covered. Next up, we're going to look at the belts. I think this is one that most people go for. So a lifting belt of some sort. Now, I have a single prong lifting belt. There are others that are dual pronged. You can also, I've seen a few with 3, but personally I think that's a little excessive. And this is a leather belt. You can get a neoprene and you can get Velcro belts. You can get lever belts. There's so many different options out there. And it kind of, at the end of the day, boils down to personal preference and what type of belt you'll get. The neoprene and Velcro ones will be the cheapest option. They'll be your sort of entry level. And to be honest, I used one of those for many of years and it never really let me down up until the Velcro started giving out. So that's one drawback. However, it provided enough stabilization through the midline. It got tight enough for me. It works an absolute treat. And then obviously I've upgraded to a leather single prong belt. Did find it a bit more beneficial, but it is quite a lot thicker. And it's the same size all the way around, whereas most Velcro belts, they'll kind of have a larger back section. With belts and competing, just do be very careful with the belts that you buy. There are rules on how big belts can be and how thick belts can be. So again, I was questioned on one of my weightlifting competitions that this was too thick. So in weightlifting, you're allowed, I believe, 10 or 12 mil. And this was right at the top end. So this is quite a thick belt for weightlifting. However, with powerlifting, this would have went in no problem at all. So again, just be careful if you are planning to compete that you don't get a belt that's too big. They will tell you not to use it. And then again, that can kind of hinder performance. Now, belts, again, worth investing in. Again, perhaps they're not essential. I mean, I've been training now for a while. Trying to not use my belt as much as I used to, just to try and build up the core strength. Now, I've been doing this for probably 6-8 months, maybe even close to a year now. And again, I still break it out now and again if I'm getting to a very top set. But other than that, I'm not really touching it. So is it essential? No. Is it nice to have? And is it kind of affordable? Yeah. They're always nice to have, obviously, if you're struggling with a set. You can wrap on the belt, and I would say if you can use it properly, you can add about 10% to your lift. So you can add quite a considerable jump to your lift by adding a belt on and using it well. So you want to brace into it and strap it on real tight. The biggest giveaway for someone that doesn't know how to use a belt is when they don't loosen it the entire session. That thing is not tight enough, that's not providing support, that's there just as a fashion accessory. It does want to be uncomfortable. You should get a little fat podge sticking over the top. So yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but then you know it's on for sure. Yeah, the different types of belts, like I said, just kind of boil down to preference. The lever belts are the ones that look the coolest in my opinion. but they'd be no good for weightlifting because this big metal bit in front of you is going to get hit by the bar. However, the powerlifting, they'd be spot on. So again, just consider the belt that you're buying for the reasons why you're buying it, before you just jump in and pick the coolest looking one. Moving on, we got a couple accessories for the wrists with me, and then we'll talk about a couple things that I don't have with me. But next one up is wrist wraps. So wrist wraps, similar to knee wraps, is simply a long piece of neoprene, well, elastic neoprene, that just wraps around the wrist and provides a nice level of support. And again, that's all it's doing, providing a nice level of support. So wrapping the wrist specifically for stuff like bench pressing or low bar squatting or snatching, clean and jerking, whatever it might be. Anytime you feel pressure going through the wrist, then it might be worth just bagging up a pair of these, especially if it's uncomfortable. Now again, it's not going to add kilos to the barbell, but it will take away that niggling feeling in the wrist, which can improve your confidence, which will improve your lifting. Now these are really cheap. I think I picked these up for maybe £5-6, so really cheap, really affordable. And I would honestly say, if you ever do get the feeling of a niggly wrist, probably worth investing. Now again, a little bit like the belt, I'll only use it if I feel like I need it. Try to go as long as you can without them. Try and develop the strength in the bones and the joints so that you are strong enough to withstand those loads. But again, if you get into the point where it's kind of that's the limiting factor, then wrist wraps are going to be fantastic for that. Now you can get really long ones if you want that good support, or I believe these ones are the more shorter ones. Again, they'll do for £5-6. It really is there just as a support measure. And again, over time, you should get to a point where you don't really use them. Like me personally, I don't really use them. Perhaps when my bench starts getting better, then I'll use them. But for now, not too bothered. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is the wrist straps, which again, you've probably seen a few of these, and there's many different variants of these. So you've got the wrist straps themselves, which is just a single piece of rope. I don't even know what the material would be called. That would wrap around the hands, like so. And then this would wrap around a barbell to improve grip. You can get stuff like Versa grips, which are kind of, again, wrap around the wrist, and then you have this pad that sticks out the bottom, which you can do the same on. You can get figure 8 straps, which are quite popular at the moment, which literally you put your hand through twice and then you're locked in place. I'll try and include some images to the side here. And basically all they are there for is to improve your grip strength, or almost take it all away. So again, you're predominantly going to see this during deadlifts or any sort of back training, anywhere to a point where your grip could be the limiting factor. So let's take, for instance, you have got a big deadlift day, you smash out your deadlifts with no wrist straps, fantastic, but then you've got a load of pull downs, you've got a load of rows, you've got a load of single arm rows, load of machines, all this sort of jazz. There's a good chance that your hand grip is going to be absolutely shot from deadlifts, so you're going to want to use something like a wrist strap just to enable you to grip hold the barbells or dumbbells or whatever you're using for the rest of your pull session. Because the last thing you want is to have to drop volume because you cannot hold on to anything. That means your back's probably not going to be effectively work, which could skew off your plan. So again, having equipment like that can just be useful now and again to throw on, just to make sure that that grip is not the limiting factor. Now again, worth the investment. Again, not essential, but again, it's like £2, £3, £4. You might as well. And really, the brand doesn't really matter where you get your stuff from. So as you can see, I get a lot of my stuff from Bulk Powders. They seem to be the cheapest on the market, or one of the cheapest anyway. And again, it's half decent quality. I mean, I've had these for a few years now, and they're still decent to me. So for £5, I really can't complain. Again, I would try to limit the use of these just to improve that grip strength. You want it to be coming up as well. You don't want to be one of those people that can't deadlift without them. Yeah, pretty straightforward stuff that. A couple bits and bobs that I haven't got with me are elbow sleeves. So you can get elbow sleeves. So again, similar reason to what you get the knee sleeves for. Just protect the elbows, keep them compressed, keep them warm. Again, I'm sure there'll be a few there that give you a little bit of spring out the bottom. That's great. Or you can get stuff like these knee sleeves where it's just that compression and that support and that warmth. Again, just to improve the confidence. If you are looking to compete, however, in powerlifting, that will be a no-go. I think the only sport you are allowed to use them in is strongman, strongwoman. So again, if that is your sport and your elbows do give you some grief, then worth looking at those. Not entirely sure how much they're priced at. I would imagine similar price to knee sleeves. So again, are they essential? No. Are they handy to have to a person with elbow problems? Probably yes. I think that's going to be it for equipment. I guess we could also include the slingshot, which is probably the newest newest product to the market. And basically what that is, it wraps around the elbows. There's a long elastic strip down the middle, and it just gives you that little bit of spring on the bench press. So it is a bench specific equipment. I guess you could include it in this, but I won't talk too much about it because I haven't got it, and it would be more beneficial for you guys to see it rather than me just talk about it. So that's my quick run through of equipment, why you should use it and whether I think it's worth it or not for new lifters or experienced lifters. If you do have any questions on any equipment, then please do comment down below or drop me a message. I'd be more than happy to get back to you. But for now, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.